morning everyone. Today we are doing the nervous system. Now nervous system helps us to coordinate. It's all about coordination. Coordination is brought in our body in two ways. One is nervous coordination brought about by our brain, spinal cord, the sense organs and the nerves, and the second one is chemical coordination, which is brought about by the chemicals in our body, that is the hormones. Take for example, when you eat, a lot of coordination goes into it. That is, when we see the food, then only our brain will interpret it, whether it is good or bad. The sense organs will smell it. When you taste, when you take the hand to the mouth, the food will be tasted. Whether it is good or bad or hot or cold, will understand all this together. So eating food, there's a lot of sense organs and different organs coordinating with each other. So the nervous system is actually coordinating the different processes in our body when they are required, when digestion has to take place, when respiration has to take place. Respiration is throughout your life. Digestion only when you eat food. After certain time it will be digested, and again those organs are at rest. So even when you play a game, you have to well coordinate. The eyes have to see where the ball goes, when it comes back to you. You have to have judgment. So all this is about coordination. If there is pain in the ankle, you will not move the leg so that it heals faster. Similarly, when you are riding a bike or a cycle, you have to have the judgment of the road, otherwise you will go and fall in the sideways. So everything, this is brought about by the brain, the spinal cord, and the sense organs and the nerves. Now the chemical coordination is brought about by the hormones, this is certainly when there is a attack. For example, a bull attack or a dog chases you, you will automatically run away from this place because a hormone is secreted in your body at this particular time to avoid this situation, so that it gives you this hormone that is secreted in your body, and there will be you will get more energy to run away from that place, or there will be strength and energy for you to run away from that place. So chemical coordination and nervous coordination go hand in hand. We cannot isolate either one of them. In nervous coordination, what happens is the signal is taken from the environment. Either it is internal, sometimes when you are hungry, thirsty, or sometimes it is outside when the temperature is hot, you put on the fan or AC. When it is too cold, you put on jacket. So whatever detectable change makes you respond is called the stimulus. So stimulus can be internal, like hunger or thirst, or going to use a washroom. All these are internal stimulus, whereas some are outside your body, that is external stimulus. What makes you respond when there is change, detectable change in the environment, internal or external, is called a stimulus. So when there is a stimulus, there are some receptor cells in our body. The receptor cells are present in all our sense organs. It is the sensory cells in the skin, or the smelling olfactory cells in the nose. Then there is photoreceptors in the eyes, smell receptors in the nose, taste receptors in the tongue, and so on. So these are detecting the stimulus. The change, detectable change, what happens around you is called a stimulus, and then these receptors will pass the message to the brain will interpret it, and then we will respond to any stimulus. There will be response. For example, if a pin pricks you, your hand will move there take it, or you will remove your hand away from that place. So in this there are the nerves involved and the sense organs involved. So when the stimulus is taken by the receptor cells, it is interpreted by the brain and then you respond. So all this takes place through the neurons. The neurons are the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. So how cells form tissues and tissues form the organs, so and the organ system, that is here it is nervous system. So the cells of the nervous system are neuron, also called nerve cells. One unique feature of these neurons is these cells in the whole body are not capable of cell division. So whenever there is damage or they have a problem, they cannot repair themselves back. So there is no cell division of the nervous cells, that is neurons. Now these are sending electrical impulses in our body throughout the day and night, even in our sleep. All the time our functions take place because the electrical signals or impulses are traveling in our body through a network of the nerves. So the unique feature you have to remember, that is they are not capable of cell division, so they cannot be, if they are totally damaged, you cannot that some function will be lost in the body. For example, in case of accidents, when the nervous system people have a spinal injury or brain injury, sometimes the nervous cells, the neurons are damaged, they go into coma, sometimes they come back. If these cells repair on their own, they are not capable of cell division. New ones will not replace the damaged ones. Okay, so now we are coming to the structure of the neuron. The neuron is made up of, this part is called, the main part of the neuron is called a cyton, or also it is called cell body, and it is made up of cytoplasm inside and the nucleus. Now there are projections, cytoplasmic projections on all the sides, which are known as dendrites. And these dendrites will pass the information from the one neuron to the next neuron, to the another neuron. So there is one projection which is long, and this passes the message. These dendrites will take the message from another neuron and then it will pass it from this direction to another neuron. Now this also has a long cylindrical body called an axon, and this axon, in between you can see there are gaps and other parts are covered by a myelin sheath. Now this myelin sheath actually insulates the neuron or the axon, and also it speeds up the impulse flowing from one neuron to another neuron. So the end terminal is made up into something called synaptic bulbs. Synaptic bulbs contain a neurochemical called a neurotransmitter. Now, just like electricity flows in the wires, the electrical impulse here or the message also flows from one neuron to another. You cannot see it, it's not like blood. You can see blood flowing in our body, but you cannot see the impulse or the message. So, what happens is, when the message, here there is another synaptic bulbs of another neuron. From here it goes to this dendrites, it will pass into this, then into till it reaches the synaptic bulb, Then here there will be another neuron to take this message. So here there will be another neuron. Now there is a gap here between the synaptic bulbs of one neuron and the dendrites of another neuron. The message goes through a gap called synapse, or a junction or a point where they don't meet actually. The message just flows from the synaptic bulbs to the dendrites of another neuron, and this happens because of a neurotransmitter which is present here. That is a neurochemical which is present there. So the long process is the axon. It is covered. In some neurons it is covered by a myelin sheath. In some they are not covered. So it is myelinated axons or non-myelinated axons. Now coming to the neurons, there are three types of neurons. One is sensory neuron, then there is a motor neuron, and in between there is a interneuron, or it is also called association neuron. The sensory neuron, what it does is it brings the messages from the sense organs to the brain and spinal cord. Now these are present inside the spinal cord mostly. The message comes here, and this is a neuron which brings the message from the dendrites. It will collect the message from the different stimulus, and it will come to the brain or spinal cord. And then this neuron only connects the sensory neuron which is coming from the sense organs to the brain or spinal cord. And this is an interneuron or association neuron because of the long path, in between it requires something to take it to the next neuron. So interneuron is just connecting or sending the message from the sensory neuron to the motor neuron, and then this will be passed to the motor neuron. The motor neuron is mostly present in the, which will give out the response, which will be present in the glands or our organs, effector organs, muscles or glands. This is coming from sense organ, then it is transmitted from here to here in the spinal cord, this is, and then it is going to the motor neuron, and the motor neuron will be connected to the effector organ, that is the muscles and glands mostly. Now this is just like a relay race you run for your sports day. That is, one person is handing the baton to the next person, and then in the relay race what happens? This will pass it to the next person. So this way it is happening in our body also. So sensory, depending on this, they are made up into nerves. There is many of these axons together will be forming a nerve. So depending on the type of neurons also, there are three types of nerves. One is the sensory nerve, which will only contain the sensory neurons. Then will be the motor nerves, which will only contain the motor neurons. And there will be mixed nerves. The third type are the mixed nerves, where they will contain both the sensory nerves as well as the motor nerve. For example, the sensory nerves are in the eye, or the optic nerve which takes the message to the brain. When you see something, the message goes to the brain. So brain will interpret it to what it is. Okay, actually it goes from both the eyes to the brain. So that is the sensory nerve. The motor nerve is, the eyes will open or close to see the image. So the muscles are stretched or sometimes closed. So that nerve is the motor nerve. And in case of mixed nerves, they are present in some parts of the body. For example, the tongue. The mixed nerve is present in the tongue. You taste and you get the taste, and you also, it is interpreted whether it is good or bad, hot or cold, all these. So it works as a mixed nerve. So you have to only know the difference between the sensory neuron and the sensory nerve. The neurons together, when they are put together, they are forming a nerve. So nerve is about the thumb size in the whole body. There are nerves in our body. There are different types of nerves we'll be doing in the next class. So this much for today. Please read the lesson till all is done and answer the questions at the back of the lesson. Thank you.